But that's not the last he's going to see of me, because let me tell you, when somebody comes for me and they put a little knife in my back, I remember it. I always remember it, because you can't let people run over you in this business, because when you do, you also can't apologize for stuff you didn't do. You come out, you start apologizing for stuff. Oh, I'm sorry I ever talked about FTX. It's a major exchange. It's like saying I'm sorry about talking about Bitcoin, or I'm sorry I talked about Binance one time. You can't let people do that. You got to stand strong. You got to be yourself, and you got to have a backbone. People won't respect you unless you do.
Yeah. Hit Network took decisive legal action in removing Ben Armstrong from the company, and specifically the Bitboy crypto brand. This is a difficult decision, is a culmination of a prolonged effort to help Ben during his relapse into substance abuse, as well as reconcile the emotional, physical, and financial damage he has done to the employees of Hit Network and the Bitboy crypto community. The Bit Squad deserves better, and we're going to get through this together. We wish him the best and regret that it has come to this, and are hopeful for the future of Bitboy crypto.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And you know I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Support this great content by hitting the Cash App and by joining the Patreon.
And guys, several of you asked me to do a video on Bitboy crypto. And of course, guys, you know I don't get into things like that. But since those who are asking me are in my Patreon, I went ahead and did a Patreon video on Bitboy crypto. Make sure you go check it out. But when you're looking at the crypto influencers, there's a lot of groups inside the space. And their job is to hype up crypto, and then also a few of the actual projects that they know are going nowhere, but they're getting paid to do so. And guys, if you can look at all the emails that I receive on these projects asking to collab, and of course I'm going to do the research, and a lot of them I know for a fact are going nowhere, so I don't do any at all. I may start next year because we are seeing a solid path. But guys, you know I'm going to give you the truth about the project. You know I give you the truth, nothing but the truth. Yes, the truth hurts, but it sets you free. And that's the reason why my channel doesn't have as many subscribers as it should, doesn't get as many views as it should, because I give the truth. And the truth is painful. People don't like it, but guess what? I have to deliver. And we had Bitboy Crypto talking too much about the bank man. Remember, guys, I'm an old man. I grew up during the crack era. I know when someone is under a substance. And doing my research, I didn't see anything. And don't get me wrong, he does have a past, but I don't see anything going on in the future. But I definitely get into that in detail in the Patreon video. Now, guys, we have CNBC doing a cyber attack warning. And guys, we know we hear those drums are beating, and we know they're going to get louder going towards the fourth quarter. And we know Klaus already gave us the warning. And CNBC talking about the open source codes. And guys, who owns GitHub? That's right, Microsoft, Bill Gates. And who is always blamed for the cyber attacks? That's right, guys, Russia and China is part of the movie plot. Remember, your life is an illusion and TV is your reality. And we heard Christina Lagarde talking about CBDCs a long time ago, that she was in favor of them. And we've seen Christine Lagarde with Brad Garlinghouse on several occasions. And we know CBDCs and stablecoins are definitely the future. Why, guys? Because they want programmable money. And the reason why this is biblical, because, guys, you have over 200 inventions inside the Bible. These people want to read it literally without taking the time and studying it, breaking it down. Breaking the Codes. It's the greatest book ever written. And the one world currency, the mark of the beast, is coming. The technology is here to bring it. And we know blockchain gives the NWO the all CNI. And this programmable money be able to tell you what, where, and when and how to buy. And you have 3 to 6 months to spend it, or poof, it's gone. And the sheep are going inside the metaverse. And Jerome is about to tell you why. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you, because he knows. When it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
We all know, but still pay insufficient attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack, which would bring to a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services, our society as a whole.
Robert, that's right. American officials are scrambling to make sure potential weaknesses in the software used to operate American infrastructure have not been penetrated by Chinese. How to secure the code. And a government official tells CNBC that CISA plans to release a draft national strategy for open source security in the coming months. Meanwhile, a new report from a cybersecurity firm highlights the potential threat here. Researchers at Fortress Information Security looked at 7,918 open source components and found that 13% of them had contributions from coders in Russia or China. They also discovered that 90% of the products used to manage America's energy grid contained contributions from developers who said they were from Russia or China. And they say Russian and Chinese open source code is 3 times more likely to have vulnerabilities than code from other regions. Fortress estimates that the cost to replace all that code would be a staggering $40 billion. Now, given those huge costs, guys, it's not likely that companies are going to pay to replace all that software out there. More likely are some of the solutions that have been raised by CISA, including rewriting just some of the most critical components of the code. But CISA is making clear that it believes that software companies that consume open source software should also contribute back to the security of that same software, guys. Back over to you.
Eamon, why would so much of this critical code be open in the first place? I mean, is the idea they can't develop it themselves, or that, you know, and also why would they allow contributions from Russia and China?
Well, look, I mean, open source means open, right? It means anybody can contribute and put their code out there, you know, put it up on places like GitHub and other, you know, central areas where people who want to use the code can go and get it. And this is just a quirk in the way software has been developed for a generation or more, where big components of the code are open source. That is, if you think about writing software programs these days, it's not as much writing it line by line as it is assembling different chunks. You go out and grab pieces that have this functionality or that functionality, snap them all together, and you make a new program. That's where they're using a lot of the open source code. For some of the very routine things that happen in a lot of different software programs, they use this code that's been out there for a while. The question is, you know, is it secure, and whose job is it to go through all that open source code and look for potential, you know, backdoors or malware or other things that could be lying in wait there? And that's a big, expensive question to answer, right? Because it's going to be a big problem. And the question is, you know, would a Microsoft who runs GitHub be responsible for that? Would the companies that resell the software be responsible for that? A lot of them have contracts which say, you know, if you buy our software, if it doesn't work as advertised, you know, that's not on us, right? So one of the questions here is, where is the liability for all this, and who has to pay for cleaning it up?
Right. Yeah. Well, pretty much soon it'll be ChatGPT and AI just writing all the software anyway. Eamon Javers, thank you so much.
That could be it, right?
You know my views on CBDCs, and you know that I have pushed that project. Fabio Panetta is working hard on that together with members in the entire Eurosystem, with a high-level task force that is working really hard on moving forward. But in a way, I'm really pleased that attention is now focused on the role that cryptos can play and the role that central bank digital currency can have when they are implemented. We have a schedule, as you know. The Governing Council decided back in October 21 to launch a 2-year investigation phase, and it is at the end of that investigation phase that the decision will definitely be made to launch the CBDC and to make it a reality. We can't go wrong with that project. I'm confident that we will move ahead, but that's going to be a decision of the Governing Council. I think it's an imperative to respond to what the Europeans expect, and I think we have to be a little bit ahead of the curve if we can on that front. So if we can accelerate the work, I hope we can accelerate the work. I will certainly support that. And I was delighted to see that in the United States there was an executive order by President Biden to actually expect similar effort and focus and progress on CBDCs, cryptos, and I think that it will take all the goodwill of those who want to support sovereignty, who want to make sure that monetary policy can be transmitted properly using our currency, will endeavour. On the issue of financial stability, I totally concur with my Vice President, De Guindos, but I will also point you to the last sentence in the first paragraph of our monetary policy statement. And I know that there's been an abuse of that, but we mean it. We will take whatever action is needed to fulfill the ECB's mandate to pursue price stability and to safeguard financial stability. So, have no doubt.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of a huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we could have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Cryptoteacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 Kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get home stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing, they were still getting that free money. What are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID Stories 3. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.